Hey everybody, this is Mad Matt Carter. Thank you so much for watching the AIWF Network YouTube channel as well as the AIWF Ringside Wrestling channel. If you like what you see, please do us a big favor. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that bell to get notifications every time we post new videos on both our channels. It means a lot to us, and thanks a lot for watching once again. Hi, wrestling fans, and welcome to another riveting edition of AIWF Ringside Wrestling. I am Mad Matt Carter, being joined as always by Brian and Reagan Danzig. And if you would do me a solid right away, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and give us a like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell to get notifications anytime we post a video. We do post just about every day here on the Ringside Wrestling channel, and we also invite you to check out our sister channel, AIWF Network. We have a lot of similar content on there, but the fan cam videos are exclusive to Ringside Wrestling, and all of our big shows, our PLEs or pay-per-views or whatever you want to call them. I don't know what you call them on an indie level. Big shows. Shows with an actual name.
Super cards.
Super cards. Yeah, there we go. Like Deal with the Steel. All those live on the AIWF Network, and we sure appreciate your support. Ringside Wrestling, as of right now, right this minute, I'm checking the app, 1,661 subscribers. And for a independent wrestling channel with no celebrities on it whatsoever, I'm awfully proud of that. So thank you for that. Thank you for your support. We certainly do appreciate it. And we're actually, able to pay for the Zoom that you're watching us on right now from the proceeds from that channel. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. But anyway, so good to have you guys here. Big wrestling event coming up this weekend for the AIWF, but we've got to talk about a lot of stuff. We got to talk about Deal with the Steel, and we're going to get to that. What a fantastic night that was. Nikita Koloff was able to successfully keep Seth Clayton Burns away from the cage door for the entire match. Although Nikita struggled with the padlock and the key at the beginning of the match. Padlock didn't want to cooperate, and I think Nikita was used to being locked in a cage, and he had never done the actual locking of the cage before. So that was interesting. But me and him had a nice laugh after that. And Nikita whispered in my ear before the main event that Seth Clayton Burns was going to take my job because he introduced his own wrestlers, and I told Nikita he's my Jim Cornette. I love it. And Nikita got a kick out of that.
My biggest thing of the night was I was in the back, and we'll talk about it after everything's over. I was just in the back with two of the people, and I was talking about a pay-per-view I had just watched with one of them on it. Because I was saying that I was rewatching all the Nitros and stuff, and I was talking about that there was a match, and I couldn't remember the pay-per-view versus Faces of Fear, the Outsiders, and I couldn't remember the name. I was like, Public Enemy. I was like, no, that's not right. I was like, the one with Hogan's boy, Brian Knobbs, and both of them looked at me and went, and I said, it looked like y'all were, stiffing him a little bit, and the Barbarian was like, and and then I said something again about him being Hogan's boy, and the other person back there looked at me. He's like, "Yes," and I loved it. So it was great. So.
Barbarian's a cool dude, man.
He is.
He's a maniac when he's in the ring,
mm-hmm.
But outside the ring, it's just like about all them Island boys. They're just as cool as the other side of the pillow, man.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was just gonna say, as mean as he is in the ring, that's how nice he is outside the ring.
Oh yeah.
He actually, the last time I had worked with the Barbarian was like 1999 in Wentworth, and of course I didn't expect him to remember that, and he was like, "Hey, are you Brian?" I was like, "Yeah," and I thought maybe he was just like needed some water or something, like needed me to go get something for him, and he was like, "Yeah, you wrestled last time I was here. You did. That was a good match. I really liked." I was like, "Thank you. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me." That he remembered. All those years ago. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah.
he also said, you know, he saw Justin Flash and was like, that kid right there, he's good. He goes, I've grown up with him. And I was like, it just, and the memory on him, I mean, to remember, I mean, I was really nervous because everybody knows how big of a mark I am. And I was nervous because this is the first time I had really been around a name like that, like with what I do now. Yeah. And he was just so nice. I was blown away. So
yeah, I kind of
very
forgot.
piercing ring.
I forgot Nikita Koloff's in the preaching game in the ministry, and so when I shook hands with him when he walked in, I was like, introduced myself, and I was like, "Hey, Nikita, I'm Matt Carter. I do the ring announcing around here, and I'm marking the fuck out right now." And Rick Diesel told me afterwards, he's like, "Yeah, leave it to you to drop an F-bomb in front of a preacher." And I was like, oh. Yeah, whoopsie daisy.
Oh Lord.
And then I caught myself doing it again with the fan cam when I'm filming the main event and I'm walking. I did not mean to say it where he could hear it, but I was walking by him to get a better, because it's hard. If you guys know, it's hard to shoot inside the cage.
Yes.
With any camera, but the new ones are a lot easier. And as I'm walking by Nikita, I'm making the comment, well, I got to say one thing. Nikita Koloff's doing a hell of a good job keeping Seth Clayton Burns out of the cage tonight. And I was within earshot, and it just came out of my mouth, and I'm like, second time I've cussed in front of the preacher, need to watch it. Only thing that could have made it worse is if we would have walked in the locker room at the beginning of the night and I would have shouted, hide the chicken, here comes a preacher, I mean.
Oh, but it was, it was a great show. We had a great crowd. We had a great thunderstorm at the last where you couldn't hear anything. And
that was during the title match,
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and so it was I think one of the issues with the lock is earlier Corey Edsel had taken the chain and was hitting somebody with it when they were around. So we lost the lock for a little while and had to find it and put it back on. So it's really Corey Edsel's fault.
It's Corey Edsel's fault, Nikita Koloff, if you're out there watching, which, I doubt. But anyway, so big news in wrestling around the country as far as the national promotions go. WWE had its last SmackDown on Fox this past Friday night. It's been 5 years. I hate it. I love the fact that WWE was on network television in a primetime slot on Friday night, but it was snake bit from the start. It started off great, but then the pandemic happened and the Thunderdome era happened, and pretty much everybody stopped watching wrestling. I mean, WWE during the pandemic, if you remember during the Thunderdome era, was like at 250,000 viewers. I mean, it was really down. And I think that Fox lost so much money during the pandemic. The rumor I heard was as soon as they started having live events, Fox told them, we're not going to renew. Go ahead and start shopping, for another home. We can't do this. We're not getting enough return on investment. So what they paid, for what they paid for the rights for SmackDown, Fox Network never made it up in ad revenue. And that's unfortunate because I have a feeling if it hadn't been for the pandemic, especially since if everything would have happened except the pandemic and Vince's ouster happening at the same time as it eventually did, maybe things would have been different, but
you never know. That COVID, I'm just surprised wrestling survived COVID, to tell you the truth. I mean,
Rob Fuller said on his podcast he didn't think it would survive. He said he thought all the indies were dead.
I did too. And we came back right after COVID, right? Like we started coming.
Yeah, not long after.
And I was, because I was like, we're not, and so
we started coming back before they even opened up the movie theaters again. So, that was
So where are they going? I don't remember because I can't remember anything.
That's all right. I'm going to explain it all. The SmackDown is moving to USA Network. Raw, as we know, is going to Netflix in January, but they were able at the last minute to sign a deal with USA Network to keep Raw on USA through December. So Raw, they're not going to lose a program, and I was concerned about that because WWE, like, what do you do? I mean, you've got 5 hours of programming to do your storytelling and build up to matches on the PLEs and stuff like that. If you lose over half that, that's gonna. If Triple H is the booker, that's got to be like a huge monkey wrench in how you got things laid out for the next few months. So I'm glad they were able to do that. Pat McAfee, of course, is gone from Raw for football season, but he will be back in January. So don't nobody panic out there because you're not seeing Pat. But Joe Tessitore made his debut on Raw this past Monday night, along with Wade Barrett. And if those of you who don't know, Joe Tessitore is a longtime commentator for ESPN, calls a lot of college football games, is still doing that. He's still working at ESPN simultaneously and now doing Raw. And Wade Barrett was having to correct him on who Isla Dawn and Alba Fire were. He kept getting them mixed up during their match. It's his first night. I'd cut him some slack, but it was really cool hearing a voice from football on my wrestling show. I like that. Pat McAfee whetted my appetite, but I think Joe's going to do fine. He's just going to have to get used to it. He brings an air of authenticity to it. You could tell when they were feeding him lines, though, because he has a natural way of, and if you listen to him call ball games like I have over the years, you're just used to his natural flow. And when something dastardly would happen, his voice would raise up a little bit and he would get a little excited, but it almost seemed artificial. So I don't want to be too critical of Joe Tessitore right off the bat, but it's good to have him on there. It's good to have another ESPN guy on wrestling. It's just awesome, I think. And then NXT is going to be moving to the CW, which, look, I know I'm a TV nerd, guys, and that's you guys might not give a shit. But to me, this is huge because NXT is moving to a broadcast network. So we're losing SmackDown on Fox. Main roster stuff's going to be on Netflix and USA. It's going to be on cable or streaming. But there's still an over-the-air show that's going to be out there every week, 2 hours, NXT. And the first 2 weeks of NXT are going to be emulating from big arenas. The first one from the old Rosemont Horizon, they call it the Allstate Arena in Chicago. And the second one's going to be in St. Louis. CM Punk's going to be on the first episode on the CW, and Randy Orton's going to be on the episode from St. Louis. I have also heard, don't know if it's true, that when they go back to Florida, they're not going to go back to the Performance Center. They're actually going to take NXT back to Full Sail University in that bigger studio that looks more like a small arena. And so if that is the case, I think that good things are going to happen for NXT. So that's all the changes that are going on for the WWE side of things. If you spent $50 on the AEW pay-per-view yesterday, you put your comments in the bottom and I'll have Reagan look at them and see what you thought. I've seen some highlights. Adam Page drugged Swerve Strickland and hit him over the head unprotected with a chair.
Also, body slammed him on a very real cinder block, and he landed right. And then he actually took maybe a back body drop onto it. I can't remember, but both of them took huge bump. It started with Swerve Strickland. I didn't pay this is all I've seen on TikTok. He was holding his head like if the cage came down, it would like chop his head off. So it's just like we were talking about it, and I watched Dynamite today, but not anything else. But it's just like it's like, Adam Page burnt down Swerve Strickland's family home. And it's just, Brian and I were talking about it, and it's just, how did you put it? Like,
but just when you do something that can actually get you arrested, that's a felony, then maybe it's taking it a bit too far.
Because you can suspend disbelief for a lot of stuff. You cannot for burning somebody's house down. And then, like I said, I think they were chanting, "This is arson," while it was happening. And it was just
it's like, yeah,
it is. Yes, that's a felony.
Then, so their match was like, there were some cool spots. I love the spots with the big staple gun, because they actually use it and you see it sticking in their skin. I like that. That Swerve Strickland did a really cool move and put Adam Page through a table it's hard to, I can't explain what it was. You'd have to find a clip of it. But then they had a spike that was supposed to be from the burnt wood of the house. And, it was just, and then they had that thumbtack match with Willa Nightingale and Chris Stratlander. Was that Chris Statlander? I can't remember. She doesn't have the alien gimmick anymore. She did a split into some thumbtacks, and everybody's into her cooch, and that's what the thing said. And then what was the other? Oh, the plastic bag on Daniel Bryan's head.
Trying to create the Terry Funk Ric Flair moment from '89 at the Clash of Champions, I believe, is what they were going for. But Dean Ambrose has got some kind of he's doing a character off a Russell Crowe movie from 1992 is what's going around the internet.
I don't know. He's with a woman that I can't remember her name. And Brian, this is so funny. We were watching Dynamite, and she comes in and she's wearing jeans and they're cut up. And then it shows them leaving and she's wearing khakis. And Brian's like, why is she wearing different pants? And then she turns around, and the front were torn up jeans, and the back were khakis. That's how they were made. And it was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen. And then, I know what else. This is something that's not wrestling related to AEW. Somebody needs to tell them how to apply fake tan lotion, because it is, MJF has it all in his ear. Somebody had smears of it on their chest. It's terrible. But
and you go to a tanning salon and stand in a machine that'll spray it on you evenly.
Yeah, but they probably don't have the money for that. They don't have that in the budget, so they're going to buy that kind from Walmart. I don't know.
Tony's flying people around on a private jet. I think they can afford it. I know they're not drawing enough to justify it, but I know they can afford it.
That Tony Khan came out and made it sound like they were going to be on that they had done their TNT TBS deal. But my thing is, I guess they're making enough money for TBS and TNT. Because besides people that watch basketball on whichever one it's on, what the hell is on TNT and TBS?
TBS will show a little Major League Baseball during the summer on the weekends, but that's about it.
Search Party on TBS
at first.
Yeah, there was a show we watched called Search Party that started, but it's a really weird niche show, kind of. Very good. It's very good, but I'm just trying to think. I don't know. I don't know how that's working, because I've seen some TikToks of crowds. And I know some of them are deceiving pictures, but this one did not. This was Will Ospreay was in the ring, and they did us, and it looked like a super show from a bigger indie, I don't know, an OVW show maybe. I don't know what to say. It was just I don't know. I don't know how they're sustaining. And the Dynamite was terrible. The final match was good because it was Wheeler, Yuta. It was the Black Combat. What are they called? Blackpool Combat Club. It was them, Willa Una, Claudio Casta Nova, however you say his name, and Pac against Orange Cassidy, Will Ospreay, and somebody whose last name's O'Reilly. And like that was a good match until they put Will Ospreay in. Will Ospreay just does gymnastics.
Yeah.
That's his wrestling style, which a lot of people like, but I don't. It's just all it is counter versus counter versus counter, and then he stops and looks like an Avenger. So I don't know. I don't know. It's exhausting to watch. I watch 95% of crap just so I can watch one match of people I like. But Brian pointed out the reason I like the people that I like in AEW is because I have followed them from previous places. You know, I said Forrest Strickland was on Lucha Underground. A lot of the guys I like were on Lucha Underground, and like just seeing videos and stuff of some of the wrestlers they have that were big on the bigger indies and stuff. And so it's not that AEW made me a fan. It's that I was already a fan of these people to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was the other funny thing is they kept showing the guys, like people go out in the audience, but it felt like they were doing that so you could see that there were a lot of people there. Except MJF was standing on a platform or sitting drinking wine, but you could tell it was just the entrance to the arena. And I said, well, they can't put him in a fancy box because then it'll show that there's nobody in the arena. So
they still draw decent for their pay-per-views. My understanding is I can check WrestleTix and see what I can find. But because people know they're going to get a higher quality match. AEW All Out Saturday, September 7th. Now Arena, Hoffman Estates, Illinois. Available tickets, 69. Current setup, 8,582. Tickets distributed, 8,513. So that's pretty decent for them, considering they're drawing 2,500 for Dynamite weekly. You know, so yeah. So they drew over 8,000. That's not bad.
No, and I don't know. And then I was confused because I was like, they're like, oh, the All Out pay-per-views in 72 hours. And I was like, didn't they just have that? But that was All In. So I was very confused.
Yeah, it is confusing. All In is the one they did in Wembley. And next year they're going to have it at the baseball field in Arlington, Texas, where the Texas Rangers play. And I think that is a terrible idea. I hope it draws. If they make tickets cheap enough, they might be able to fill it. But that is, that's a Major League Baseball stadium. And they're doing it during the middle of the summer in Texas. Texas. Yeah. It's hot in Texas in July.
Like maybe they should put it at the Dash Stadium or like, something like that. I think they would fit. I don't even know.
They drew 2,500 at Dynamite. And look, even Jim Crockett Promotions couldn't draw a good house in Winston-Salem in their heyday. They could fill Greensboro up, 15,000, 18,000 easy. But 20 miles down the road couldn't draw dick. And I heard that come from Jim Crockett's mouth himself.
WCW did well in Winston, though.
Yes, they did.
Their Fall Brawl was always good there. I don't remember if they ever had a Nitro there when I was going, because I remember going to Charlotte a few times, and we went to Norfolk one time. But I don't remember going to like just a Nitro.
They had them there. They had one where Flair and Hogan and all of them had a bunch of straps and stuff.
Yeah, I just didn't remember. Where was the Billy and Vera went to a super WWE show that had to have been Greensboro where it was like SmackDown. It's like 3 SmackDowns in a row.
Oh God.
Have you not heard this before of the Marathon SmackDown is what they called it. So
yeah, I would have hated that, man. I don't even know if I could sit through Raw anymore because it's 3 hours. Like when we went to SmackDown this last time in Charlotte, man, by the time that show was over, I was ready to go. And so, and so after the 2 hours, and we had 2 dark matches. They had Gunther and that guy that they fired that's from around here, from North Carolina, Cameron Grimes. Does that sound right?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And he and Cameron Grimes had a match, and that was all right. And then R-Truth got involved in the end, and that was fun because it was R-Truth's hometown. So when his music hit, the roof blew off the Spectrum Center. And then they had Cody Rhodes against Solo Sikoa. But at that time, they were wrestling at every house show, every dark match. They wrestled for like 6 months before they ever put them on TV together, which paid off because their match was good at the Bash at Berlin, which was also on the same day as Deal with the Steel. Didn't hurt our crowd none, and so thank you WWE for. I know they didn't do this on purpose, but it was at a time that you could watch it live, and if you were close to Mount Airy, come over to our show and not miss a thing. So
yeah. Speaking of, you mentioned Hulk Hogan. Did you hear what he said this week on Logan Paul's podcast? What he said about Chris Benoit? He said, if wrestling fans can forgive Chris Benoit like they have, I'm paraphrasing, then they will forgive me for the things I've said.
Yeah, that's not really the same thing, Hulk.
No. And who the hell is forgiving Chris? It's only been within the past 2 years I can watch a Chris Benoit match now. For the longest time I could not, because I just could not get the imagery of what people had said happened out of my head.
Yeah, he murdered his family.
Yeah.
And then committed suicide.
So people, say, well, it was CTE, this was this, that. There's plenty of people that have brain damage that don't kill their wife, their disabled child, and then commit suicide. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't think anybody has forgiven, except for those crazy people that think Kevin Sullivan allegedly did it. That's the thing.
That is such bullshit. I got to give Kevin Sullivan credit, which we lost him recently, unfortunately. Yes. But he put up with that shit for many years and never said a word. He's like, and people all over the internet were saying that stuff and sending him messages and stuff, and he was just like, it's not true. So why lend it any credence by reacting to it? And I think he handled it the right way. So
he did.
Yeah. He did. Because if he had come back and said anything, and it would have looked suspect. But even like way back in the day, I think Chris Benoit said never during that time that he and Nancy got together did Kevin Sullivan even stiff him. So,
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons is Kevin Sullivan blamed himself.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm the one who insisted that they travel together during this thing. So it's my fault that it happened. If I hadn't have done that, they would never have gotten together. So he blamed himself for it.
And it's just a terrible thing. But nobody has Hulk Hogan, and he just signed like a 3-year legend type deal, which I cannot believe in this time they're getting somebody who has over the past few weeks said some, not going to get into politics, I don't care what you think, blah blah blah, but he has said some very terrible things about some of the people that are running and stuff, and I don't know. I hate Hulk Hogan. I don't know.
He tells so many things that aren't true.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say this. As far as his politics goes, his speech at the Republican convention was great. He did a good, fired up, a positive speech. Even knowing what you know about Donald Trump and all the great things he was saying about Donald Trump, and they're not true. But it was a great speech. It was fired up. You could see that most of the delegates were already 3 sheets to the wind. They were enjoying it, but they didn't really know who he was, especially the younger delegates, right? They're just kind of like, they're kind of like standing there like, all right.
I know. And that guy used to be a wrestler, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, do we have time to go get a beer before Trump comes out?
But then he said that stuff in the bar drunk about leg dropping and, on Kamala. And he knows that's not her name. And just
Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. I mess it up sometimes.
But see, that's the thing is because we're in wrestling, we immediately say Kamala, but
Yeah.
we're not doing it out of disrespect.
No.
It's just that that's where our minds go because that was the gimmick. But I don't know. And then,
but I thought, look, it was funny when she was running with Biden the first year. I was like, this is great, because Kamala, the wrestler's real last name was Harris. Sugar Bear Harris, and so I was telling Jinky, I was like, this is awesome, man. Joe Biden's got Kamala. They're going to be unstoppable.
I did not know that. That's funny.
Yeah,
that is funny.
So
what a funny. Yeah, that's
Kamala,
weird.
Yeah, so Kamala, before he was Kamala, he was Sugar Bear Harris, and that was his real name. Not Sugar Bear, but Harris.
Yeah,
but, because if I ever meet anybody named Sugar Bear, I'm gonna call freaking Post Cereals and have them send a cease and desist order because that's just creepy.
Tell them the thing you heard about Hogan said about being in The Wrestler.
Oh, yeah. He had said that I had heard on a podcast that Hogan said that the director wanted him to be to star in The Wrestler instead of Mickey Rourke, but because he was too famous, he said it wouldn't make sense because he's such a successful wrestler that the story wouldn't work. And they talked to the director, and he was like, that's not true. I never even approached Hulk Hogan about being in The Wrestler. That's ridiculous.
He also said that he was at Wembley Stadium in '92 at SummerSlam and met a kid that was dying, and him and Bret Hart met him or whatever. Hogan wasn't even in WWE at that point. So he says a lot of stuff that's just not true.
Yeah. We harmonized on that. Yeah. I have not. Have you watched the Netflix Vince documentary?
Has it come out yet?
I thought it had. Maybe it hasn't. I don't know. I've seen a lot of stuff, like people talking about it, and I know
a lot of people on podcasts are looking forward to it. It's going to be fodder for every wrestling podcast, including this one.
Oh my God. Oh, this is funny. When I was watching Dynamite, there was somebody wearing a Jim Cornette Wendy's shirt in the front row at AEW.
That's funny. I bet you that burnt.
Oh, Chris Tenney said Hogan also claims to have auditioned for Metallica. I forgot about that too.
For Metallica, really? Hey, Chris Tenney, good to know that you're out there, Vince McMahon. Shows the show wrestlers, something about Nature Boy Ric Flair, but I don't think the Vince McMahon thing's come out yet.
Okay.
It'll be a six-parter though.
Is it 6? Well, I'm in the end of my favorite documentary right now, Chimp Love.
It's on Amazon, isn't it?
No, it's on Max.
Oh, okay. I've seen it there. I've seen it, but
oh my Lord. If you got time to watch something crazy, that's something to watch.
I don't know, man. I ain't into bestiality. That's just too much.
It's not bestiality. That's not what it is at all. It's about these people who own chimps and treat them like children.
Oh Lord, no.
Yeah, it focuses on one person, but it's not as wild as Tiger King, but it's pretty up there.
I'll never forget that. Remember that famous Michael Jackson interview at Neverland Ranch where he got in all that trouble for admitting that he slept in the same bed with children. But one of the forgotten pieces of that interview, which I still think is one of the most hilarious interviews I've ever seen, talking about chimps. You're going to be like, what does this have to do with chimps? Remember Michael Jackson in the 80s had a chimp named Bubbles that lived with him.
Mm-hmm.
And the reporter asked him in that interview, hey, whatever happened to Bubbles? And it's like, we had to let Bubbles go because as he got older, he got very aggressive with the children that would come to the ranch. It's like, oh my God, this deadly chimp, screeching and like throwing crap at children.
Yeah. And that's why you need to watch Chimp Love, because it also talks about that woman got her face ripped off. That damn monkey's still alive. Bubbles. He's in a sanctuary. Bubbles.
Well, chimps live as long as humans, don't they? I mean, they can in captivity.
Yeah. So I found that fascinating. They don't show Bubbles in this. They show it's about this monkey that was in a movie from the 80s. I can't remember the name of the movie, but it's good. You should, if you have time to watch something that will infuriate you, and you want to step away from the infuriating AEW, then watch this.
I don't know, man. I like chimps where they're at the Ashboro Zoo behind a thick pane of glass. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love, I love apes. They're primates. They're our closest relatives. The only difference between them and us is they can't speak. But that's okay, man. They like fruit and they like music and they like ice cream.
This is not a pro-owned chimp show. It's not a pro one. It's very anti-don't own them. So,
well, no, I don't want people to own chimps. They belong in zoos and nature preserves and that island down in Florida where they rescue chimps and put them on there and leave them alone.
Yeah.
Did they ever get Chimp Island opened? That's what I need to find out, because they were building. Some people got together that didn't like the idea of keeping chimps as pets either, and had got an island. And the idea was they were going to call it Chimp Island, and they would rescue chimps from, home that had been brought into the country as pets, and just turn them loose on this island. And because of the climate, it was very similar to what they would have had in Africa, and they would be able to thrive there. And so have a whole island off the coast of Florida infested with wild chimpanzees. Boy, I'll tell you what, better not park your boat there, buddy.
No. So it is open. Founded in the 60s, features 3 monkeys who live on the island full time. Can be viewed by all visiting the river. So I guess you don't go on it; you just look at them.
Go by it. Yeah. I wouldn't set foot on it.
No, I don't want to get my face ripped off.
You don't want to be anywhere around wild monkeys. They're scared. They have them in the Philippines in Subic Forest. They have macaque monkeys that look, you've probably seen the Japanese version. They're always in the snow, but these are the same breed, but they live in the jungle up in Subic. And I'm telling you, man, when you just see a monkey sitting on the side of the road drinking out of a Coke can, it's unsettling. It's very unsettling. I wouldn't want to live anywhere where there's monkeys or apes or any primates around.
Those kind of monkeys, like, they are in one part of Florida now too, I think. Those macaques, like, there's an area in Florida where there's a bunch of them.
Oh Lord!
I think there's actually there might be a rescue, or a reserve there on an island off of Florida.
Oh, another monkey out. Lots of monkey. If it's going to be anywhere, it's going to be in Florida.
Well, I mean, that's the only climate that could sustain them. Unless you kept them indoors, and that's not good for them.
Was there ever a monkey in wrestling? I know they're like way.
There was a monkey in NASCAR a long time ago.
What?
Yes, it was Jocko Flacco. And this was during the 60s, and it was Tim Flock. They had a little black, like a spider monkey or something. Like, you have to look him up. But Jocko actually raced in the car for 5 races with Tim Flock. And they had him a little race suit, and they bolted him. They had built him a little seat on the roll bars and everything. And he very cute. Good way to draw attention of, from potential sponsors. I understand that the kids that were down in the garage area just loved him in the 60s. But that didn't end well, and I don't want to depress everybody. It went well for 5 races until they were somewhere. Did you find a picture of Jocko?
No, I found a picture of Hacksaw Jim Duggan with the chimpanzee.
Really?
Yeah.
He had I don't remember him having
I don't know. Maybe I just Googled chimp
wrestling.
Chimp and pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan with a chimpanzee.
So
yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out. Animals in professional wrestling. Let's look at this Wikipedia.
I can't remember what racetrack it was, but I'll go ahead and tell you the Jocko Flacco story, so you understand why it's not a good idea to keep a monkey as a pet or as a co-pilot. They had, in those days in the 60s, what technology isn't what it is now. And so Tim Flock had a trap door on the floorboard on the right side of his car that he could lift up he pull on a chain and it would lift up and he could look and watch the wear on his right front tire. Because if you know anything about auto racing, right front tire is very critical to making the car turn safely in the corner at a high rate of speed. So you need to watch it. And these days, you know, you can see with high powered cameras and, you know, they have electronic devices and all that. Well, Jocko had seen Tim using that chain and somehow got loose of his restraints and pulled up the chain, and a rock came up off the racetrack and hit him in the forehead. And the monkey freaked out in the middle of a race
in the car
with Tim.
Oh my
Now
God.
you got a loose monkey who's having a mental breakdown inside the car while you're trying to race. So Tim Flock always joked while he was still with us, yeah, I had to fire that monkey. But, you know, so they didn't race him anymore. And then NASCAR really quickly after that was like, okay, like it's unfortunate that we have to make this a rule, but no more animals in the car.
Yeah, that is. I did find that Bruno Sammartino wrestled an orangutan.
Oh, man.
The match lasted for 15 minutes, and Sammartino earned $25 for each 5 minutes.
That must have been before he got.
Yeah, I can't. It doesn't have a year. Let me hit
it had to be in the 50s, not long after he came to this country.
Yeah, it doesn't. It just says it was in the Freddie Blassie book.
Really?
Yeah, the legend. You pencil neck geeks or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that he was relatively desperate for money at the time as a newly debuted wrestler. Said the match was very painful and unsafe because the animal was not trained.
Yeah. So yeah, he didn't know how to work.
And then Teddy
anybody
Hart
smarting that fucking monkey up, man?
Teddy Hart wrestled a cat.
I'm sure he did.
But he loves cats. He has like a ton of like those fancy Persian cats.
No.
But he is also insane. So
he is. So what we found out about the Jocko Flocko story, everybody thought it was funny because the way Tim Flock always told the story, I had to fire that monkey. Well, there was more to it than that. Several years ago, on Mother's Day weekend, we were down at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and they had a lot of the famous racing wives there. And Tim Flock's wife was one of them. And she told us what happened after that. NASCAR was like, yeah, that's too dangerous, Tim, which Tim got rid of the monkey anyway. And NASCAR, I don't know that they even knew that he was doing that. They weren't really paying attention. You know, they were trying to run the race and count the money and all that kind of stuff. And in the days before cell phones, it was a lot easier to sneak, you know, and get away with stuff. So the monkey actually had to be put down 5 days after that happened because it never calmed down. It never stopped freaking out. And so poor Jocko Flocko had to be put down all because of that. And so like anytime I think about anybody keeping a monkey or ape as a pet, it just doesn't seem like a good idea. It never seems to end well.
Look, there he is with his monkey.
And then, I mean, got to get for 5 weeks. It had to be the most hilarious thing ever in auto racing, you know. And then it went bad, but you know, it's fun while it lasted.
Mm-hmm. Phew, that sounds like something you'd see in a Six Pack. There's a deep Kenny Rogers movie.
Oh yeah, that's a deep cut. It was like the Bad News Bears, but racing. You know,
it was good. I liked that movie. That was a heartfelt movie.
I hadn't seen it in a long time.
Let
me read a couple of ads real quick here. And now that we got y'all depressed about dead monkeys, you need to call Premier Auto Detailing and tell them you need that car cleaned up. We call them hands down the best car cleaning service in town. 336-736-2638 for more information. 336-736-2638. That's Premier Auto Detailing. They do individual residential jobs. If you just want your car cleaned up, they'll do it. They'll wash it. They'll wax it. They'll get down with toothbrushes if they have to. They'll do the detailing. Also, though, if you have a commercial business, say you've got a bunch of trucks and a fleet, you know, they can clean those up. I don't know if they go up to like dump trucks and utes and stuff like that, the big ones. But if you've got a used car lot and don't really have the money or ability to hire a new man, to handle washing the cars for you, this could be your golden opportunity right here to save some big money. Premier Auto Detailing, they can handle you. They'll work anywhere in the Mount Airy, Surrey County area. 336-736-2638. And tell them that AIWF Ringside Wrestling sent you. And let's see what else we got here. Tees Creations, custom apparel. Of course, you know, they're our friends. They are the official merchandise people of the AIWF Mid-Atlantic. So if any of the boys are watching and you need some custom gear, get with Tees Creations and they will help you get that stuff out there. They got all kinds of stuff. The new fall lineup is here. Teescreations22.com. Tees Creations by Allied Apparel on Facebook, TikTok at Tees Creations, also on Shopify. And so I love this one right here. Tired of babysitting my mom's grandkids. That's to me, that's funny. Especially knowing her kids. But all these fall designs, she's really obsessed with cows. And these are pen sets that are coming out soon, like ink pen set. It looks like sunflower.
Oh, I cannot wait. I love those pens.
Yeah, they're pretty neat. So all kinds of new things. Check out Tees Creations all over the internet. Again, teescreations22.com. Tees Creations by Allied Apparel on Facebook and TikTok at Tees Creations and Shopify. If you'd like to join this, you get a lot of bang for your buck here. Only $10 a month for the reads like you just heard. And we have a real long one we do for Secondhand Heroes later on in the program. But yeah, we'll do anything we can to help you out. $10 a month. We do a video commercial. You can see it's a little bit higher, but yeah, $10 a month. When we take a week off, that don't count against you, man. We don't do that. You know, you get 4 reads for $10. That's how it works. So if we have to take time off, that is not going to affect you whatsoever. $10 a month. All right. And as you can see, well, this is not the most recent calendar. Our next show is on the 24th, and I'm going back into ads. Damn it, I had some posters lined up here, but
when do we get to see some of your fan cam?
We are going to take a look at some of that really soon, but I wanted to plug the upcoming show. I was hoping Rick Diesel would be here tonight because I need to tell him I might not be able to make it. But you can make it. Yes, you can make it, friends. We're going to have big wrestling fun this Saturday night, September 14th at Veterans Park in Mount Airy. Major announcement coming September 14th. Things are about to get interesting. That's all it says. Seth Clayton Burns seemed like he was not looking forward to this. So I wonder if it involves him. Maybe Mickey Fulp. I don't know. That relationship has to be strained right now.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite people on planet Earth is going to be back in Mount Airy coming up on this Saturday night, the 14th. It's Ironhead Matt Anderson returning to Mount Airy, multiple tag team champion. Easy for me to say, former television champion. Man does it all. And he's got that wicked spine buster. And if he hits you with it, you will not kick out before 3. It just doesn't happen. So good to see Matt on his way back to the Mid-Atlantic. And then it says, find out what's next for Justin Flash. Has Justin Flash got another challenger in mind, or has somebody stepped up that we don't know about? We're all going to find out this Saturday night, September 14th. Bell time is 7:30. Tickets $9 for the floor, $6 for the bleachers. You know the deal. And then this is a very cool announcement. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Sexy Gouda. Is that like Gouda cheese? Am I saying that right? Sexy.
I would assume Gouda like the cheese.
All right. So Sexy Gouda is coming. And if he's like some of the crop of some of these kids that have been coming up here out of these training schools lately, I am really looking forward to this. Of course, you know, us wrestling fans, we're fickle. We always like something new. But Sexy Gouda is coming to the Mid-Atlantic. So we're going to see what Sexy Gouda is all about. Looks like he's got a good fashion sense, just by judging by that picture. But we'll see. That's all this Saturday night, September 14th. Hope you can make it. It's going to be a lot of fun, as it always is. And then wrestling's actually going to be at Veterans Park a lot over the last. It's on September 14th, and then the following weekend at the Surrey County Agricultural Fair. So
yes, please come to that. we have so much fun at the fair. I mean, it is. You're going to see people that it's just fun. It's hard to explain what it's like to see a fair show. It is a completely different experience, but it's a great experience, and we have so much fun. I mean, it's so much fun. So,
and you get to go to the fair. So I mean, that's a plus. That's a plus, you know. And the wrestling ticket is included with your fair admission, so you just buy your way into the fair, you get the wrestling ticket. So,
and it's a nice way to take a little break from walking around the fair. You can sit down, eat your snack while watching the wrestling. So it's it's intermittently throughout the day in the evening. So yes, it's a good time.
Friday and Saturday at the fair for you in Mount Airy. And we all know where the great concessions are at the fair. Nod, wink, wink. Those picnic tables are almost always full. It's nearly impossible to find a place to sit down. You go inside the grandstand there where the wrestling ring is, you have dinner and a show, and it won't be nearly expensive as Dolly Parton's Pirates down at the coast. So, although that is a lot of bang for your buck, I like that.
I love the Pirates Forage, yes.
Huh?
I love the Pirates Voyage. Say it for me. Voyage. We enjoy that. We like to go there every time we go.
Oh, yeah, I like it. I've been to that one and Medieval Times. I like Medieval Times too, but like Dolly Parton feeds you more. You get chicken and barbecue and like vegetables. And I mean, you leave there full.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
We did have an angry waiter the last time, though. He didn't give us a choice of our dessert. There was like two, and he's just like, the dessert is this. And this. So he was not a happy. Hey, that's probably a shitty ass job. And I gave him a great tip because I was like, he's in a bad mood because something has happened. Yeah. And I'm like, this man deserves a big tip because,
well, somebody could have been rude to him.
Yeah. Or who knows what the people he had a wrist thing on, and who knows what they'd said to him in the back. And I just bet that job sucked. So tip your waiters, especially there. So
yeah, I had a guy one time that was new, and you could tell he was new because he was really nervous and he was having trouble keeping up. And Jinky was like, tip that guy real good. And I was like, I need my Pepsi refilled. Like, and she's like, no, tip him good. You can tell he's new, because if you get down there and you get an experienced person, like the way they fly through all their people, it's just incredible to watch. But also, on the other hand, for new people, I'm sure it's very overwhelming, And we always leave there wondering how many chickens they go through in a day. I bet you it's close to Sam's Club's numbers. I mean, have you ever been in Sam's Club and seen that damn rotisserie chicken cooker they have in the back of it? Good Lord.
It is good chicken, though. We didn't get barbecue last time. We got ham steak, maybe. I don't know. It was all good. But I sat beside a guy who did not enjoy. He didn't crack a smile, a laugh, nothing. Nothing. He did not seem impressed by anything. And I was just like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? I mean, is it silly? Yes. But some of the acrobatic stuff they do on there and the whips with the fire and all that is fucking good.
Yeah.
And he was just like, it was terrible.
He was like, I'd rather spend my money and go eat crab legs.
Can't believe I'm not getting my crab legs tonight.
Damn it, they wanted to come here. I hate Dolly Parton. He's the only man alive that hates Dolly Parton. Let's see here. All right, so let's look at some fan cam stuff. This is from Deal with the Steel, and this is just like one of the things. This was at the very beginning of the show. Richie Mitchell was in there getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. And Corey Etzel and Mecha Mercenary crashed that party. And this is about a 5-minute video. I'm going to let you guys observe it and just, I don't know. I just thought it was tasteless. But anyway, we'll go ahead and see it because Richie was there. I mean, he's retired. You know,
Yes.
he was there to get his flowers, and this just happened. But let's take a look and a listen to it. I'm trying not to blow your ears out, but to be, you might want to let me check the volume real quick. Let me back it down a little bit. All right, here we go. Let's take a look and let me know if you can hear everything.
Microphone. You don't deserve a microphone. You know, do we have people? Do we have good production here or what?
You don't come out here and disrespect us like that.
It's on.
Oriental, beloved by Mount Airy.
The reason I've come out here right now, truthfully, isn't to insult you or put you down or any of that good stuff. No, I've come out here to tell a story. I'm going to tell you a story about a man who took a 15-year-old teenager under his wing and treated him like a brother. I'm also going to tell you a story about a man who protected that teenager. Richie, that was you. And that 15-year-old young man was me. But one day, Richie, you disappeared. And you left me on my own. And Richie, for that, thank you. I'm not done, Richie. I'm not done. I thank you because if you hadn't abandoned me 22 years ago, I wouldn't be the legend I am right now. And the fact that you're getting a Hall of Fame plaque means absolutely nothing to me. In fact, I probably should have been the one giving you that cheap $20 plaque. But that's okay, it's all good. It's all good. Richie, you have your moment. You enjoy it with you and your boy there. Kitty, you calm down. I see you eyeing these belts. But you fellas ain't got the guts for it no more. You see, this ain't a karate competition, Matrix. This is professional wrestling. And the reason you got out of it is because you knew I was better than you. And anytime you gentlemen want to prove it, too bad. You're not good enough for it. And you'll get no opportunities at us. You know, I wouldn't serve you guys up a piece of humble pie, but I'd say you've ate every piece of pie in the last 2 states. Oh, you right here. You just uncaged the demon that's been waiting for a long time. A long time to be uncaged. And Richie Matrix has the same demon inside of him. You name the time and place, we'll be there. Well,
Well, that's that. Just an uncomfortable situation for all.
Well, go ahead.
Well, no, it's just leave it to Corey Edsel to interrupt somebody's Hall of Fame induction. I mean, that has never, in the history of the AIWF Hall of Fame, nobody has ever had the audacity to do something like that. I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a wrestler, and Corey just came out and just ruined it for Richie, and understandably, both him and Chris were very upset about it. Everybody was, and after Corey had locked them in the cage so they couldn't get out, and once we finally got him out of the cage, I went up to Richie and apologized to him, for this, and but yeah, but the thing is, I mean, I think Corey feels justified because Richie, I mean, people leave wrestling sometimes. It just happens. Mm-hmm. And if he felt abandoned by Richie Mitchell because he had to leave wrestling for one reason or another, it's nobody's business why he left. But if he felt slighted by him because he left, then, I mean, get over it. I mean, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, man. Richie wrestled with us, in the late 90s, early 2000s?
So That night, I don't know if you heard this or not, that deal with the steel was 20 years on the date that he wrestled me and Brian at Deal with the Steel in Westfield.
Wow.
So they came, their first match was in that Louis Theroux show. Mm-hmm. Then we were in Westfield. That was the very first time the School of Hard Knocks came and wrestled Brian and who?
And Don Carson.
So that was 98. I was wrestling, so it had to be 99.
Yeah, it had to be 99, 98 Deal with the Steel was in Stewart.
Yeah, so 20 years to the date since the Westfield Deal with the Steel that was outside. And they, I mean, I don't know how long Chris went after, but Richie went on several more years after we left for a while. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and like the thing is like Brian said, people leave wrestling for whatever reason, and Corey loves to blame everybody else for his issues. Mm-hmm. He never takes, I don't know. It is just the audacity. Mm-hmm. And I know Corey Edsel is like that, but I just never imagined that he would interrupt the Hall of Fame. And like, I don't know if y'all noticed or not, Richie and Chris are still in the same shape they were when they wrestled 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the thing. Corey, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Corey had this planned, well in advance, but those two have not stopped doing their martial arts training. They're still in the gym. I mean, whether or not they're still doing competitions, they're still training and still doing it. They are highly skilled fighters, and we found that out the hard way when we got in the ring with them.
Oh God, yes.
I mean, these guys. I mean, they are serious business. And Corey is really getting himself into something he may be in over his head.
And I Chris, I don't know, is in their chat anymore, but I know Chris is at competitions all the time. I don't know if he's competing or if he's a sensei. I can't remember. I wish he was still in there to tell us. But he is almost every weekend at a competition.
Yeah.
He is a I don't know if he's I don't know how that works, but he's in there. He says, for the record, I just won a World Jiu-Jitsu Championship in October 23.
Wow.
So,
okay. So he's a world champion.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I don't know that Corey, I think since Corey's head is up his own ass, he doesn't know what these two people have been up to. And coming from two people who were in hell fights with them, like, he's bitten off more than he can chew. I mean, Chris and not only that, Chris, people drift apart for whatever reason, but Richie and Chris outside of the ring were very close with us. Like, we were together every week. And I love Chris Tenney and I love Rich, but they're crazy. I mean, they are. You have not to do Tombstone, but they've called down the thunder.
Yeah.
So, and hell's a coming. So good luck, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
hope
boy.
Richie knocks out your teeth like you did mine. So.
Oh, mercy. Yeah. And when Richie walked into the office before the show, I was thinking, he looks exactly the same. His hair's a
I
little
said
longer,
that to him.
and I was like, but I immediately knew who he was. And like, I remembered his name, but because I mean, let's face it, I've done some hard partying over the years. There's a lot of things I've forgotten. But I remembered his name, but as soon as I saw his picture, I was like, oh yeah, that guy. And I remembered how brutal his matches were just when I saw his pictures. It jogged my memory. And while you guys were talking about it, I remember thinking, watching those matches where you guys were feuding with them, and like knowing that I had made the right decision to be an announcer and not a competitor. Like there was no more doubt, if there ever was any, which was very little. That finished it off.
I hit Chris Tenney with a chair on the seat part, not the seat part, but the back part, and bent it over his head, and it didn't stop him. So, and I just...
Yeah, and not only are they, highly skilled and trained in martial arts, I mean, they're also trained in pro wrestling too. We had a hand in helping, teach them how to wrestle, and they did a really good job of blending those two things in together. And so Corey's like, this isn't martial arts, this is pro wrestling. Well, they know how to wrestle too. So you can't really you can't really say that you can't really make that claim to those guys. They've had several battles in a wrestling ring too. So yeah, Corey, I think he may have bitten off more than he could chew on this one.
Yep. I wanted to talk about, but I also wanted to show it in its entirety, not the entire gauntlet match. I'm not going to do that. You're going to have to wait for it to come out later on YouTube. But it'll give us a chance to maybe go for a bathroom break or a cigarette break or something too. But I wanted the fans to be able to see part of the gauntlet match from Deal with This Deal. We were all worried sick about Buddy Flowers going into this match, that he was incredibly outnumbered. Just incredibly outnumbered. I mean, it was him against, 4 other guys. And the trendsetters were the first 2 that he had to face. Now, Seth Clayton's plan did not go as he had planned it out. Jeff Paul made sure of that. But, and if you don't know by now, Jeff Paul is the new AIWF Mid-Atlantic Cruiserweight Champion. But I want to show you part 2 of this, where Buddy Flowers is against Case and Kane. Now, he has already wrestled a full match against Pretty Boy Lane, and Case and Kane comes to the ring number 2. And I want to show you this and let you guys at home just see and hear through natural sound what was going on. Oh, and referee Dalen returned to the AIWF Mid-Atlantic. Remember, he was in the pocket of Fighters Club at one time, but he's back, and he seems to be calling it right down the middle, Brian. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in matches, even before, in matches that didn't involve the Fighters Club, he did call it right down the middle.
Yeah.
But it was just if anyone from the Fighters Club were involved, then that's when he would be blatantly biased.
Mhm.
Wouldn't even hide it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So even in matches that, even when Fighters Club in their heyday, he could ref a match that didn't involve them and call it just fine.
Yep. So anyway, but Dalen was back. So welcome back, Dalen. I hope to see more of you more frequently. You can't have enough good referees. Because I remember the days of Smiley, and so I'm glad to have good referees whenever we can get them. Not to say that we've got any that bad now, but those memories, they haunt you. And then so, Dalen, I know Reggie and the other guys appreciate the help whenever you can make that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I used to make a joke, hey, Smiley is the worst referee I've ever seen, and I lived through Tommy Young, so I know what I'm talking about. But I'm telling you, man, I don't think that anybody will ever top Smiley.
He had his own way of things.
Nice guy. Love the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Nice guy. But 1, 2. It was almost like he was scared to count.
I'm sure we've talked. Brian's the one that gave him that name.
Yes, yeah.
Smiley, yeah.
I mean, I wonder if when he was refereeing basketball games, if he was counting the 5 seconds to the timeline like that. As he would get louder with each number and more panicked, like, I want to have to get to 5, boys. Or is it 10 seconds to get across the timeline in basketball? Do you remember?
You're asking something I don't know anything about. Ref and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of counting involved. More so in basketball than in wrestling. I think there's more counting. But anyway, speaking of counting, Dalen's here. It's Case and Kane and Buddy Flowers in the second leg of the gauntlet match. You got to see this just because Buddy Flowers is a hero of mine after Deal with the Steel. What a gutsy performance. This has a few comments from me, but mostly natural sound on it. It's going to run just under 8 minutes, so enjoy it and check it out. This is from Deal with the Steel, and remember, you saw it here first. Here we go.
Well, Lane kept choking Buddy Flowers, and Lane's still in there, and Burns is like a cage. Oh, this is a bunch of crap. A bunch of crap right here. Lane's supposed to leave. Lane finally leaving. But Buddy Flowers is in big trouble. To use a term you marijuana enthusiasts are familiar with, Buddy Flowers' left knee is cash. cover by Kane. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen. Oh, long darted him right in the cage. I don't know how Buddy Flowers keeps kicking out. I've never seen him in so much trouble.
Hey, Sept.
Boy, Buddy Flowers is fighting back with everything he's got. Leg gave way. Seth Clayton Burns seems extremely calm at ringside. Burns just told Case and Kane, remember the plan. This has been already, and Buddy Flowers is not even halfway.
Oh my God, my knee's on fire. I don't know if I can get up. Stay down. Stay down, you hear me, you piece of crap. You're just like all these fans. Nothing. Oh, buddy. They've done this also.
I tell you what, man, Buddy Flowers, if nothing else, is one tough bastard.
How tough am I, though? Talk about how tough I am.
You're a tough bastard, too. I didn't think they could hear me.
Hang on, I got to turn my camera back on.
All right.
We got to find it. But man, what a courageous effort by Buddy Flowers. I mean,
It was, yeah. I was very impressed by his showing in there. However, it was Seth Clayton Burns kept talking about the plan to all of them, and from what I could gather, from what happened with Jeff Paul, it seemed like the plan was to soften up Buddy Flowers to let Seth Clayton Burns get in there and become the new AIWF Cruiserweight Champion.
that's surely what it looked like to me. And what an odd gauntlet match, because it ended after Jeff Paul pinned Buddy Flowers. And normally in a gauntlet match, everybody that's in line, that's in the gauntlet match, it keeps going until everybody has entered the match. But they had it that there had to be something more. I think you're 100% right on, Brian, because it tells me they finagled the rules of that gauntlet match to end as soon as Buddy Flowers was defeated. So Seth Clayton Burns never got in the ring, which I thought was unusual. A gauntlet match usually doesn't end like that. If there's 6 people entered, all 6 have to wrestle before the match can end. But that one, I mean, when Jeff Paul pinned Buddy Flowers, the referee called for the bell, the match was over, and Seth Clayton Burns was just standing there with his dick in his hand. I mean,
no other way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no other way to say it. Sorry, folks. I mean, but that's what happened. And so unreal. But Buddy Flowers is my new hero for that. And I tell you what, if Buddy Flowers hadn't had the odds stacked against him like that, you saw him defeat Lane. We saw him defeat Case and Kane. He was spent by the time Jeff Paul had been in there. He'd been in the ring wrestling 2 different opponents for almost 20 minutes at that point before Paul even came into the ring. And so I'm telling you, Buddy Flowers on that night against any other man in the Mid-Atlantic, I think one-on-one would have been victorious. I think he could have beat Justin Flash. I'll go on record and say it. And I know that's a bold statement, Matt. But if you were there and you saw that match in its entirety, and you will get to see it, we've split it up into 3 parts. It's going to be coming out on YouTube and sometime in the next month or so. You're going to see, man, what a gutsy effort by Buddy Flowers. And there was a lady on my right side. I didn't get a shot of her, I don't think, in that one. But she was living and dying with Buddy in that match. I really was like starting to get concerned for her health. She was about on the 2nd or 3rd row on the right side. And she was standing up during that match screaming. And I started shooting her because she was really into it. Then she kind of gave me the side eye, like, that look, that women give you when they want you to stop doing whatever you're doing, and it was a pretty mean side eye. So I didn't film her anymore, but I wanted to document that because she was so into it. And, man, the future's bright for Buddy Flowers. We've seen him transform from a good time marijuana enthusiast hippie to, he's still that, but he's very serious about his wrestling now. When he cut his hair, something changed. Something changed when he cut his hair as far as his wrestling attitude goes. So here's to you, Buddy Flowers. You are the man. You are, just like I said, one tough bastard. And it was, I don't know if you found it difficult to watch, Brian, but I did. There was a point in that match, I think it started in the Kane segment, where Buddy was just getting beaten so badly. It was just, and he was in so much pain. It was difficult to watch.
Yeah. There was a point where I was just like, you just need to call it quits to save your career. As there's at a certain point where you're going to get injured to the point where you're just not going to be able to wrestle anymore. And it's, as badly as you want to hold on to that title, your career is more important. There'll be other titles down the road.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, let me go ahead and read our other ads real quick here. Algorithm for YouTube. Let's see here. And I'm going to make you hungry during this segment, I promise, wrestling fans. because I got some new photos for Tease Treats we're going to be taking a look at. But first off, let me tell you about branch management, landscaping, and into potted plants and everything. But if you need landscaping work done around your house, get the grass cut, bushes trimmed, that type of thing, they are here for you. And they are available to help you. They serve the Mount Airy, Surrey County area. 336-648-2487. That's 336-648-2487. Fall is on the way. So if you need leaves cleaned out of your gutters, and you know the best time to plant is in the fall. So if you want to put something in the ground, 336-648-2487. Then they can't help you with annoying relatives, but as far as any plants go, they'll be glad to help you put those in the ground, just not people. You'll have to call somebody else for that type of service. But anyway, pressure washing, general contracting, gutter cleaning, free estimates. It's always good to get something free. 336-648-2487 if you're in Surrey County. Give branch management a call. They can help you out and probably do it a lot cheaper than some of the other landscaping people around, because they have just a bigger variety of resources available to them to save you money. Man, but when you talk about our most delicious sponsor, it's Tease Treats, a locally owned food truck based in Mount Airy. They've got these new corn dogs that Rick Diesel just raves about. And I have to tell you, Reagan, that looks good, Brian. Oh, man, with the chili and the cheese on it.
I know I've got to get those.
Yeah. Make me go cuckoo for corn dogs with Tease Treats. And you can see these, what do you call these things?
Ribbon fries.
Ribbon fries. Look at that with the cheese, looks like ranch dressing or blue cheese or something. Jalapenos.
And they're huge. Like, this doesn't show you how huge they are. They're like a foot off the plate. They're like piled like this. So,
yeah, they're messy. You're going to need a lot of napkins. Going to need a lot of napkins. They'll be available at the fair, by the way, I believe. So check them out. Go ahead, Reagan.
They should be in the building, like, I think.
Yeah.
I wish Rick Diesel was here to test, but I'm pretty sure they're in the First White concession stand.
Mm-hmm. Look at them caramel apples on top of the funnel cake there. Oh, goodness sakes. And this right here looks like some kind of pumpkin-y mess type funnel cake, but also looks delicious. All this stuff, man. Tease Treats, 336-755-8204. So you can find out where they're going to be next. And of course, Tease Treats got you covered with all this gluttonous goodness. And there is a picture right there that I just love of Rick Diesel with the Mayberry deputy. It's just it's incredible. Tease Treats, man, our most delicious sponsor, and we certainly appreciate them. All that good stuff. My goodness. Last but not least, Secondhand Heroes and Home for Wayward Villains is a gaming store that features collectibles, toys, retro gaming consoles, and games, as well as free-to-play arcade cabinets and comic books featuring Magic the Gathering, casual play, as well as tournaments. They also host Dungeons and Dragons campaigns several nights a week. Located at 18184 Leesville Road in Evington, Virginia. That's right outside Lynchburg. Secondhand Heroes is your one-stop shop for you to get your nerd on. And, you don't have to worry about Jerry Falwell trying to have them shut down for playing satanic games because he's dead. Table I don't know what made me say that. It's a Lynchburg thing, I guess. I grew up in that television market, and I would think that Jerry Falwell, if he found out about this, well, especially if it was in the 80s, would be going after them. Open 7 days a week at 11 a.m. They don't stop until the dice stop rolling. They buy, sell, trade, barter, haggle, specializing in collectibles of all type, both vintage and modern. You can call them up, get table space available for your Magic Gathering thing. They have food there, so you don't have to leave. They sell concessions and stuff. They feature older console game like Nintendo and Sega Genesis that you can play. 25 arcade cabinets. Their Monday Night D&D group has been going on for over a year. They also host video game competitions like Mortal Kombat tournaments, Street Fighter, whatnot, Mario Kart. Something for the gamer and collector in us all. Call to make arrangements for your game night at 434-317-0121. That's 434-317-0121. Or you can reach out with any questions at their email address, secondhandheroesva@gmail.com. Now, don't spell out the word second. Use the abbreviation. Use the 2ND. secondhandheroesva@gmail.com. Come game with us, the ad says, and look at these title belts you could win for winning the tournaments up there. So give them a call. That number again one more time, 434-317-0121. Secondhand Heroes and Home for Wayward Villains. Absolutely love them. So yeah, Deal with the Steel was great. We got more action coming up this Saturday night on the 14th. I don't know. Justin Flash was successful in his title defense. We'll see what happens. That was the one where the rain broke out.
Oh, yeah.
That's where the storm started. I wonder, I'll pull this up and roll a little bit of it because I want to see if what we heard in the in the building translated to the video. I'm very curious to see because let me just tell you, it was
it was loud.
Mhm.
It was like Odin opened up the skies for. So
What's that? What's Odin?
Odin's the god of Norse god.
Oh, one of those Viking gods.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
Norse, not just Norse.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Let me share and we'll roll it and see just a little bit of this because it's very interesting. The skies opened up.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Mhm.
Yeah. you can
That
hear
is
it.
not white noise. That is the rain.
Come on!
All right. You just get a taste. For this.
Justin Flash versus.
So, yeah, you could hear that rain. It was really coming down. And Justin Flash was fired up that night. He is not intimidated by anything. You know,
No.
yeah, I just, yeah, if you needed some help fighting your way out of a bar, Justin Flash would be a good guy to have with you. That's for sure. Yeah, so I'm trying to think what else, but you know, it wasn't over between Corey Etzel and Mecha Mercenary and Richie Mitchell and those guys because they came out. What was it at the end of the show? No, at the end
No, it
of
was
Corey's
after
match.
Corey's match. It was it's after that tag match.
Yeah, and I want to tell you what, JT Moss and Metallica were this close to beating Corey and Mecha Mercenary in that match. That was one of the wildest matches I have ever seen. The steel cage is supposed to contain these guys, but Corey and Mecca jump started that match before the bell, and they fought all over the arena before they finally got them in the cage and got the match started. I bet you they were fighting. What do you think, Brian? Maybe 5 minutes before the match ever really started?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was crazy.
Yeah, and that's a good strategy. I mean, I've actually used it before in a cage match. It really throws your opponent off to expect to be in a cage, but then you start the match off outside the cage, and using that strategy is very helpful.
I wonder if you ever mentioned that sometime in the past and Corey was around and it just came back to him. You know, Brian said one night that he really had a lot of success by jump starting a cage match, and getting the advantage. But that match went back and forth, could have gone either way. And I'll tell you what, man, every time I see Metallica, first time I saw him was in West Virginia back last December. And every time I see him, he gets better.
Yes.
Better. JT Moss, same way. JT Moss may want to think about focusing on tag team wrestling because he certainly did it good in a past life. And he was a very accomplished tag team wrestler. He looked for singles, but I'm telling you, that guy was on fire with Metallico in that match. They made such a good tag team. You know,
They did, yeah.
And it's like, I mean, come on, you know, there's some people that are just geared more for tag team wrestling, right? Like everybody knows what a great wrestler, all around wrestler, beautiful Bobby Eaton was. But man, when he had a capable tag team partner, a Dennis Condrey, a Stan Lane, whoo, on fire. You know, I mean,
Right.
so I don't know. It's not up to me. I'm just saying, I just report what I see. So, but
Yeah,
that was outstanding. All the matches that deal with the steel were great, but that
they
Buddy
were. They
Flowers,
were flat.
yeah, that Buddy Flowers though, that still gets to me. It's just what a tough thing to happen to Buddy, and I just hope I know he will bounce back from it. But anybody that's holding a title and you're sitting on one of those open contracts, which I know is encouraged in the Mid-Atlantic, you know, when you're a champion, be ready to defend anytime. If you look down and you see Buddy Flowers' name on that thing, you better be ready to kill him, is all I can tell you, because it's going to take almost that to stop it. I mean, he is one determined. I just called him a tough bastard, and that's putting it mildly. You know, he is tough, and Casey Kane's tough too. The first time I ever met him, he got hit in the back of the head with a chair, with the seat side pointed the wrong direction, and the edge of the chair split his back of his head open. It was at a fair show a couple of years ago. And as soon as the chair bounced off his head, I could see his hair was wet. And so I knew the blood was coming, right? I mean, you know, it just had to get through his hair. And he bled like a stuck hog, but he couldn't get him to stop the match. So, you know, they're all tough guys that go into the ring, but Buddy Flowers was just on another level. So kudos to you, buddy. I'm not trying to kiss your ass. But you know, when somebody goes up there and leaves it all in the ring, man, you gotta give them their props, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, that's all about, I think we covered about everything for this week.
I think so.
Anybody else have any comments, questions, emotional outbursts?
No, I'm just looking forward to this Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be a good time.
Yeah, even all of we always put on outstanding shows, whether or not they're, you know, deal with steel or the TV tapings. Like, you just never know what's going to happen.
Right. We don't save the big stuff just for the big show. You're going to, every event, whether it's a TV taping or Deal with the Steel or Fright Night, you're going to get a good show anytime. So you don't have to save your money for the big shows.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get a quality wrestling show anytime you see our name on the marquee.
Yep. It's not like, you know, if you go to a WWE live event, you know, most likely there are not going to be any title changes or nothing catastrophic is going to happen. Because, you know, they don't want that stuff to happen when it's not being filmed. So, I have noticed this over the last 20 years. The referees seem to be a little quicker to disqualify somebody at a live event that's not being filmed for TV. I'm just saying. But it's not like that with us. Disaster can strike anytime. So I don't know if maybe that's the best way to put it. Disaster can strike it. But for title holders, it is.
Well, I mean, it's disastrous for the person, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and again, you know, when it's a big show, I think it's more that in a big show, referees are encouraged to let more things go. It's like people don't want to see, the big match, the big showdown. They don't want to see it in a DQ.
Yeah,
they're like,
let's count out. Yeah,
right. Let's have this. Let's have these guys settle it once and for all. If we have to give them a little extra leeway to make that happen, then let's make it happen.
Yeah. I get frustrated because while you saying that, I was like, why couldn't Tommy Young do that back in the 80s? He was so strict.
Yeah.
Which is like I'm watching Nitro, and you know how I hate Jim Duggan. He keeps doing this thing where he has tape and he pulls it out and then he wraps it around his arm like this. And I was watching, and Kevin Nash, he goes, "I wish somebody hit Jim Duggan in the face." and it was one of those ones like, maybe it was kayfabe, maybe it wasn't, maybe it was a little bit of both. Because in that match with the Barbarian where they were stiffing Brian Knobbs, like Kevin Nash was just legitimately laughing. He was just throwing his head back, just laugh. And I think it's fun that when I mention it, they were like, "Yeah." The Barbarian's like, "Yeah." So I love wrestling.
Yeah, that was an interesting time in wrestling, the Monday Night Wars.
Yeah, because who was it? Because I'm always like, I can't believe that person was still there in the NWO. I say that all the time, like Ice Train.
You sent me a picture of Mike Rotunda yesterday.
In NWO, like I didn't remember that at all, because I remember because Big Bubba was in it, and I remember that because he was in it before he went back to the WWF to finish out a very good Big Boss. Big Boss Man.
Yeah, he was Big Boss
Man. Like he had a good run.
God, yes, that last one, man, was good.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Maybe maybe cooking the dog was a little of a stretch. But
oh no! The worst one was like dragging the Big Show's dead father's coffin around the cemetery.
That's true too. I forgot about that. But so I remember that he was in the NWO, and then it was supposed to be a strap match between him and Conan, who was still in the Dungeon of Doom, which I didn't remember still going in the NWO era. And Mike Rotunda comes out, and I was like, "What in the world?" I was like, "When did he become NWO?" And I didn't remember that at all. So it probably didn't last longer. He didn't last longer.
I don't remember. I just know that it seemed like Mike Rotunda kind of disappeared off TV, and the next thing you know, he's an agent for WWE, and he's been there ever since.
Yeah, good for him. He was one of those ones. God, we're getting off on some tangent. He was one of those who was really good, but you just couldn't get him, especially in WCW, NWO. I did not watch WWF when he was IRS. I didn't watch then. But in NWO, it's like he had a little bit of, but he was really good, but he wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like it was kind of hard to get anything out of him that made you want to watch him.
Yeah.
But I guess they were trying with the NWO. But he's a good wrestler.
God, yes. And he was good as IRS. I mean, he did that really good because he could look down over his glasses and I'm gonna get you tax cheats on the pay. As long as you had he knew what direction to go in. But you couldn't if you watch his early stuff from the early 80s when he was in his first run through Crockett. Just going out there and be like, "All right, Mike, cut me a 3-minute program about your feud with the assassins or whatever." He would struggle, but he was one of those that man, if he went out there and he had something clear to say or some guidance or just when he was with Kevin Sullivan in the Varsity.
Yeah, I was going to say his run with the Varsity Club.
Yeah,
like him and working off of Rick Steiner, them doing their bullying of Rick Steiner and then pushing and shoving kind of thing. Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, I feel I
call him Mike Retardo.
Oh God,
Rick Steiner would.
But
as a 13-year-old, I thought that was great. As the guy that's being presented as kind of the slow one. Calling the other guy retard was just hilarious to me. I know that's not proper nomenclature these days, everybody, but it happened. Okay, get over it.
Yeah,
and it would 12 and 13-year-old boys at the time would think that was hilarious, and so.
So I'm in the middle of. I just watched Roddy Piper and Hogan at Starrcade. Ooh, I know Stephen Hayes said last week that he would take that over the Ultimate Warrior Hogan match, which yes. But that match
not a high bar.
That's not a high bar. That match was terrible.
Was it? I don't remember it being that bad.
It's pretty bad. I mean, it was. I don't know. It's just
It wasn't them in the 80s. I know that.
no,
It
and
was
it was like
10 years too late.
the funniest thing he said though was in one of his promos. Vincent came out. He goes, "You shut your mouth. I trained you, or I showed you how to work." And like it was good. I mean, Roddy Piper, I love his voice. I also did not know he did a song. And I don't know how I missed that because I love Roddy Piper. I have always loved Roddy Piper. Even when I was a little kid, I had a thing for Roddy Piper.
He did
And somehow
did a
I
song?
missed out on his song that he did during this time frame for
Roddy?
WCW. Huh?
I'm looking it up right now on Apple Music.
I just
Let me
sent it
see
to see if I can find it. I sent it to Annie because we are both huge Roddy Piper fiends.
I remember he was on Land of a Thousand Dances on the wrestling album. You know,
No, this was his.
It's such a yo.
This was like a
They did a music video.
and it was, man, I can't believe I didn't.
Hulk
see
Hogan
it.
did an album back then about that time, right? When he was first coming into WCW around the mid '90s.
I don't remember. He probably did. Who knows? Why can't I?
I know Macho Man did a rap album.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh man,
I never
Maybe I
got it, but I remember. I don't remember seeing it in
I've heard a
stores.
song or two, and it's as good as you would expect from the Macho Man.
I love the fact that the Macho Man has been gone for several years now, and he is still the main spokesman for Slim Jim.
Yeah.
Have you
Well-
been in the gas stations lately on the Macho Man statues with the Slim Jim in them? They are fully on board with the wrestling deal now. You know, they did that commercial with LA Knight and Bianca Belair, and Savage is in that. You know, it's just yeah, good for them. You know,
Yeah.
why can't I find this? I'm so upset with myself.
Well, we can
Roddy
say for
Piper WCW song.
well, see, I think it was before WCW.
oh,
I think it was in his WWF days, but they showed it on WCW kind of as a rib on Roddy Piper.
And there was a video and God, I might find it and send it to you because you saw it, so I'm not hallucinating.
No,
this
yeah,
isn't
I saw it.
this isn't a CTE dream thing. So
Roddy Piper music. Let's try that.
WCW 1996. This is riveting while we Google.
I just got a bunch
Yeah.
of his entrances and his appearance on Howard Stern in 2002.
I'm
No,
so upset with myself
2014.
because I videoed it and sent it. I thought I sent it to this chat. Well, I'll find it. I'll send it to you and we can listen to it next time. Because
Yeah.
I'll be able to find it once I'm not trying to find it on the podcast. So,
Yeah. Well, you know, interestingly enough, Roddy Piper had a short recording career. But yeah, I remember seeing that Hulk Hogan album in Walmart. I do remember seeing that. It was so it got some decent distribution, I guess. But I remember seeing the CD and my friends and I making fun of it because we were about graduating high school age at that time, and we were like changing the names of the songs, like, you know, putting in Hulk where you'd put in a bad word, like why won't this girl get out of my hulking house? But it's time to if the neighbor's dog doesn't stop barking, I'm gonna hulk and shoot him. You know, he's doing what kids do. You know, stupid.
Oh yeah,
teenagers. You know, and but we went like a whole 30-minute trip after me and Brandon saw that album in Walmart back home. We're going back and forth making up song titles for the CD. And looking back on it, maybe we should have just bought the CD and had a few laughs, you know, naturally. But I just didn't. At 17 years old, did not feel compelled to spend $15 on a Hulk Hogan CD.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, but I don't know. It's oh wait, here we go.
she found it. I know you've been
Maybe.
hanging on for this, everybody.
Oh,
Roddy
come on
Piper.
now.
We can't play it on here, but you can tell everybody where to find it because that's copyright. That's a big no-no.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's not. Oh, shit. This is like a whole daggone, like one of those websites where it just gives match ratings and the match. I'll find it. I will have it for the next time. I promise.
Yeah, we got to. This is not exactly riveting television.
I know it's not, and I can't believe I can't find it in the chat with my friends.
That's all right. You'll find it.
I'll
Yeah.
find
You'll
it.
find it 15 minutes after we're off the air, which
We
we're
will.
Oh, yeah.
We will. I'm what are the performance anxiety?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll find that information out. That's critical information that's key to your survival, and get it to you as fast as we can. But right now we're going to get out of here. We'll have more next week. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about after the big TV taping that's coming up this Saturday night, September the 14th, at Veterans Park in Mount Airy. You don't want to miss it. $9 for the floor, $6 for the bleachers. But you know, Veterans Park ain't a bad seat in the house.
No.
I'm not going to comment about the weather because it seems to be trending well right now, and I don't want to jinx it. So we'll just hope that what's going on now holds. And we hope to see you there. It'll be a whole lot of fun. T's Treats will be there. Oh, man, some good eating, good wrestling, good fun. And then we're right back the very next weekend for the Surrey County Fair. Hope you'll join us for that, too. Remember, your fair admission is your wrestling ticket. So, and you get to see like 2 or 3 shows, especially on Saturday. So, all kinds of fun at the fair. Brian had the best tip ever, man. Get you one of the big old sandwiches or gyros and bring it in there and just sit down and relax and have dinner and a show. It's good fun at the Surrey County Fair. So, we look forward to seeing you over the next couple of weeks. Any final thoughts before I let them go?
No.
All
Nothing
good.
at all.
All right.
I'm just
Well,
deep in research right now.
all right. Well, then for Brian and Reagan Danzig, I am Mad Matt Carter. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week, fans. And until then, so long for now.